Hello there, this is Zatnium, and I'm here to show you the first 30 days of the Wandering Village demo, along with some useful tips to get your village going. The Wandering Village is an extremely promising and already delightful city building simulator, on top of a giant land traversing creature. I've played it a little bit, and it brought me great joy. The game is already superb via its art style, music, complexity, and game mechanics. I really didn't even feel it's a demo. So, without any further ado, let's jump right in.
Driven from our homes by the toxic spores, we kept wandering, looking for shelter. But not in our wildest dreams did we imagine what we would find.
Tip number 1. If this is the first time you're playing the game, I strongly recommend you go through the tutorial. I'm not gonna go for the tutorial because I've already gone through it. So first of all, take a look at the environment. That is the big beastie that we will be riding. And these are our first citizens of our town. Look at the art style, it's absolutely amazing from my point of view. The animations are top notch for everything. When it comes to the world view, starting from the macro world view and going down to the micro city view. It all looks phenomenal. You'll find your resources on the top left of the screen. On the lower left you have notifications. Then there's the harvesting tool, in which you can select specific types of items to be harvested from the map, and also if they should be harvested if they're mature or not, such as mature grown trees or small baby trees. Then there's the priority tool, which will help you select the priority for different items on the map, buildings in construction. The destruction tool, which lets you deconstruct essentially per category or everything. And then the research table. So I'm choosing this area to build in because it also has a lot of wood and a quarry, so that we may use them in the later part of the game. I am building 8 tents. Each tent has a capacity of 2 citizens. And around the tents I will be building some roads, because apparently your citizens can travel faster while on roads. I've instructed the citizens to pick up all the rocks and some trees around, because we'll be needing them in our construction. Next, I will be building something that will help us gather some water, specifically the air wells. These gather water from the air, You're gonna need a couple of them, or maybe even more, because the beast, the creature that you're riding, will travel some desert areas more often than not, and you will not be able to collect any water to grow and plant your crops with. Click a building on construction, you will be able to see the resources it needs, if the resources are available, and you can prioritize it. In the top right, you'll be able to access the research screen once again. You'll be able to see the biome that you're currently in and properties related to it, the humidity, temperature, and if you click the population button, you will see a breakdown of your population, their needs, and their happiness and their productivity. Our big lovable creature's name is Onbu. He is absolutely great, just look at him. And on the top right corner you will also be seeing some buttons that will help you sort through the map areas, the world map, the village map, and the creature map. You'll also see Onbu's status when it comes to poison, hunger, and sleep. After building the water towers, I consider the second most important thing to do is a farm. Followed up by water tanks that will allow you to keep the water, store a lot more water than would be available normally. You will always be needing extra wood and stone, so don't be afraid to select as many trees and stones as you'd like. Don't be afraid to extend your farmland, because there will always be a need of food. And for starters, please try to ensure that you assign the maximum number of workers to your farm. I like to build a couple of storages and a couple of pantries just because their inventory is pretty limited at the beginning, and more of them is required. You can also see the status of idle workers, if any of them are idle, and what each of them are doing right there in the population screen. A worker post is important so that a part of the population will be reserved and will always be available to do jobs such as the resource gathering and the transport. And there is our lovable Onbu. And as you can see in front on the map, it seems that there are a group of nomads, which we will be recruiting when we will reach them. Whenever you see mushrooms, do not hesitate to gather them as they will become food for Onbu. The herbalist is rather important to build early, but not to have a heavy focus on, since they handle your sick villagers. Your villagers will eventually get sick, depending on the areas that Onbu will be traveling through. So when they get sick, you're gonna need a herbalist to grow herbs, and then a doctor to heal them using those herbs. But for the moment, nobody is sick, and Onbu is not traveling through a super dangerous and poisonous area. So the herbalist can be built, but shouldn't be focused on that much. Don't forget to connect everything with roads, as it seems that in fact travel speed is higher on roads. Always make sure to put plots on the ground wherever you have farms, whether they are farms for Onbu or farms for your people. So here essentially I am trying to build the berry gatherer, and as you can see around the berry gatherer you see some white points on the map. That is actually the area in which the berry gatherer will go and gather berries. So it's important to find an area with a lot of bushes in those white spots. I was looking towards the edges of the map, but from my point of view the travel time is a bit too much from that place. So I've decided to sacrifice a bush and have the berry gatherer be at that specific location. He has a few berry bushes around him, and I think it's sufficient considering we also have a lot of farm crops. Next, I decided to plop down the mycologist. This guy essentially grows fungi, grows mushrooms, and these are important because these are Onbu's favorite food, and you will be processing them and you will be feeding Onbu with them in order to gain his trust. It seems that we've gone through the group of nomads and some nomads have joined our village, so our population number has grown and we're building two additional tents so that these new nomads will have a place to sleep. Always make sure to look at your buildings. If your buildings have a high number of workers assigned to them, but there is not much happening as activity in the building, then do not be afraid to reduce the number of workers for each building and then raise it as per necessity. And I've finally put down a research building so that we can begin researching new technologies and new buildings. Now we will be approaching an intersection and a crossroad, and you do have the possibility to tell Onbu where to go. He may or may not listen to your commands, depending on how much he trusts you, but after building a certain building, you will have the possibility to indicate the direction. Onbu does have a mind of his own, so he will be eating, sleeping on his own, irrespective of your command. He will be listening to your commands once you have the appropriate buildings and if he trusts you enough. You can modify the speed of the time by using the 1, 2 and 3 keys or on the top right of the screen. The kitchen and the hornblower are both essential buildings. The hornblower is the building that will allow you to give commands to Onbu, such as go left or go right at the crossroads, or commands such as run, sit, stand, and so forth. it seems we have reached day 5. I will continue playing until day 30, and I hope you will be here with me to watch. Until then, and until the next upload, thank you very much, and let's see what Ombu and the road to the future have in store for us.